Hey there. I want to share with you an interesting passage that I was reading this evening on my afternoon walk from Seneca's epistles. I'm at a local beer place, Ventura Coast. I'm having some, what is this? This is something kind of sweet. That's very good. Well, anyway, I walked out to the end of the pier, and while I was reading, I read a passage that I wanted to share with you. Now, to set the stage for this passage, we have to keep in mind who Seneca the Younger was. You know, I think he was born like 7 BC and lived to like 65 AD. So this was a very important period in Roman history. I think this is the first 5 of a series of a particular dynasty of Roman emperors. A very turbulent and vicious time. And Seneca made his way out of the countryside. He actually was born in Spain, made his way to Rome, and found himself in the court of the emperors. And I think it was Caligula who exiled him. Then he was brought back by the mother of Nero, who she had designs on using Seneca as a tutor to teach her son mainly rhetoric so that he would speak well. And she brought him back and put him in charge of her son, who was a teenager at the time. And that began a lifelong association between Seneca, the Stoic philosopher, and Nero, the mad, vicious emperor of Rome. It all came to an end when and Seneca had finally managed to escape away from Nero, who was quite a madman. If you study anything about history, or Roman history in particular, you know it's rife with references to Nero's excesses and his debauchery and his murderous rage, including the arranging for the execution of his own mother. Anyway, Nero managed to escape away but was somehow caught up in a scheme to kill Nero, somehow by association. And Nero sent soldiers to Seneca's home in the countryside, and with orders to commit suicide, which he did in a very dramatic fashion, trying to follow the example of one of his heroes, Socrates, who was, of course, forced to kill himself. Anyway, there's a passage here that I read that I want to share with you that shows some light on Seneca's frame of mind. Now, keep in mind, these epistles, these letters were written, some of the last works of Seneca. They were written very late in his life, shortly before he committed suicide, was forced to commit suicide. And it's interesting to consider why did Nero demand him to commit suicide rather than order his execution. Some speculation that it may have been to avoid the agency of feeling responsible for it. Although I wonder that Nero would even consider that. But an interesting ploy to avoid the sense of responsibility as a leader in executing someone by simply ordering them to commit suicide. Isn't that interesting? Anyway, this chapter here is, this letter is on the reasons for withdrawing from the world. On the reasons for withdrawing from the world. This is the 14th epistle. So he's talking about various reasons about why it's good to pull yourself away. Remember, Seneca did pull himself away from the world in order to escape Nero. Oh, by the way, there is this incredible sculpture. I think it's from around 1900. It was sculpted in marble. Sculpture showing Nero and Seneca seated together, whereas Seneca is trying to impart some wisdom on Nero, and Nero is clearly not having any of it. Seneca's holding a scroll, and he's pointing at some bit of writing, and Nero is seated there. He's got his cowl over his head. He's scowling. He's got his fist on his head, like he just, why do I have to put up with this Seneca guy, and all of his stuff. Anyway, I think of that as I read this. Here we go. Our wise man does the same. He shuns a strong man who may be injurious to him, making a point of not seeming to avoid him, because an important part of one's safety lies in not seeking safety openly. For what one avoids, one condemns. One more time. Remember, he's writing this letter to his protege, Lucilius, teaching him bits of wisdom, at the late age of Seneca's life. One more time. Our wise man does the same. He shuns a strong man who may be injurious to him, making a point of not seeming to avoid him, because an important part of one's safety lies in not seeking safety openly, for what one avoids, one condemns. So imagine that, trying to seek the safety of avoiding the strong man, aka, in this case, the dangerous man, aka Nero, but while not seeming to do so, because if it seems like you're trying to avoid that guy, you're by basically condemning him. He's setting out advice to avoid that danger, but will not at once being having it appear that you're attempting to avoid that danger. Interesting. Well, anyway, I just thought I'd share that, and I'm going to get back to my reading now, and back to my sweet whatever it is. I wish you all the best. Be safe, but not too safe. Bye bye.